Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Tomorrow morning, we will be live in Minneapolis, Minnesota for the next big trial we're bringing you here on Court TV, as former officer Kim Potter will stand trial for the shooting death of motorist Daunte Wright. Potter is accused of killing Wright during a traffic stop where she claims she mistook her firearm for her taser. Now, Wright later died at the scene. Opening statements will begin tomorrow morning, and you'll be able to watch every moment of it live right here on Court TV. We want to bring in now Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who's joining us from Minneapolis. Chanley, good afternoon to you. We understand that we've got some new information about a man who is accused of trying to intimidate the judge overseeing the Potter trial. What can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, that's right. We're learning that a local activist, Cortez Rice, was taken into custody. He was actually extradited from the state of Wisconsin. He's in custody at the Hennepin County Jail for harassment of Judge Regina Chu. Now, these allegations really stem from what they say tampering with a judicial officer. Now, back a couple of months ago, when the judge was ruling on whether or not to allow cameras inside the courtroom for the trial of Kim Potter, there was a protest outside her condominium here in downtown Minneapolis, and allegedly Cortez Rice went into the building up to her, outside her door, and streamed this live on video. So he has been charged with a felony complaint. He's in custody, and he says that he was not there to intimidate, of course, the judge, but Regina Chu did feel that way, and according to the criminal complaint, that was something that she stated, but she also clarified in the order where she allowed cameras inside the courtroom that the protest outside her condominium and Rice's behavior had no influence over her decision to allow cameras inside, Julie.
Right. And Chanley, I know that name jumped out at you when you heard the name Cortez Rice, right? Because you've interviewed him before.
That's right. He was actually very vocal during the trial of Derek Chauvin here in downtown Minneapolis. We spoke to him a couple of times, once during a march in St. Paul during the trial, as well as where I am right now here in downtown Minneapolis. He was a friend of George Floyd and an advocate for, of course, change throughout the city of Minneapolis, but justice in that case. He's also really close to the family of Daunte Wright and has been a vocal supporter for justice in this case. And this is one of those incidents where he's just known for going on social media, talking about things, and he was actually on social media at the time that he made his way to the 12th floor of that condominium outside what he thought was the door of the judge, and now has been charged criminally, Julie.
Oh boy, so we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, we know this trial is set to begin tomorrow morning. Give us a preview, please, if you would, Chanley.
Yeah, tomorrow, all important opening statements will begin in the courthouse behind me here in downtown Minneapolis. I want to give you a live look, though, of outside this courthouse. It's a beautiful snowy day here. That's a live look at the Hennepin County Courthouse, where these jurors will return tomorrow for to hear from the prosecution, to hear from the defense. We know, Julie, there are no. Well, I want to also point out you don't see the concrete barriers that we did see during the Derek Chauvin trial. Very different scene outside this courthouse. There are no time limits for opening statements tomorrow for both sides. We have been learning that the defense attorney, Paul Ng, will deliver the opening for the defense. He anticipates to take around 30 minutes outlining Kim Potter's case before this jury. But let's take a look at some of the major themes that we picked up from court documents and what we will expect to hear from each side once openings are underway tomorrow morning. And first, let's look at the state's case. We know that the state has contended in its documents that Kim Potter did not intend to kill Daunte Wright. That's not the issue here. They instead claim that it was a rash and reckless act to use force in that incident. We expect them to outline that before the jury. And she should have properly known how to deploy a weapon in that circumstance, given her 26 years on the force and her training. And she intentionally did act to use force, and that, according to the prosecution, is enough for that reckless standard and conscious negligence standard here for those counts. The defense case, they have filed notice of some of the defenses. We expect to hear in opening statements tomorrow. They're going to allege this was an accident, it was a mistake. Her perceived use of that taser was reasonable under these circumstances, and there's a lack of causation, that there were acts on the part of the victim, Daunte Wright here, that contributed to his death. We expect them to call, of course, Kim Potter her to the stand in the defense case, and they also have an expert to talk about action errors, the psychology of that moment. It's going to be really fascinating and interesting. But after openings, Julie, we're going to start with the prosecution's witnesses. Some of their first witnesses we expect to be spark of life testimony. We know that the mother of Daunte Wright is expected to take the stand very early on in the state's case in chief. She knew her son the best. She was actually on the phone with Daunte Wright when this incident took place, before, during, and after. She's going to offer some key evidence. We know that the body cam video will be up front and center for the prosecution's case. There's a litany of bystanders, police officers, and family members on deck to start the prosecution's case tomorrow.
Right. And I know on Monday, we understand the lawyers were there. Kim Potter, of course, waived her right to be present, which is fine. But some major decisions were made. Final motions were argued. What were the biggies that were decided yesterday to set the stage for Wednesday?
Yeah, there were some big takeaways yesterday that really helped these attorneys on their dark day in court to prepare for the first day of trial tomorrow. Let's take an overall look at some of the late-breaking decisions from Judge Regina True yesterday. She first denied a defense request to use a photo of Daunte Wright holding a handgun in front of a mirror to vitiate the spark of life testimony. It could not be used to the defense only for impeachment if, for example, the mother of Daunte Wright talks more than she should about his reputation for being a peaceful and nonviolent person. Then also the judge granted in part the state's motion on Potter's character evidence. The judge will allow that limited testimony about Potter's reputation for being peaceful and law-abiding. We expect that to be part of her defense. Also, the judge denied a defense request for 2 jury instructions related to Wright's decision to flee. They wanted before this jury that it's a felony to flee an officer here. It's an act of violence. And the judge simply said that can be elicited through testimony, no instruction needed. She also denied a defense request for an instruction saying that an officer does not need to have that warrant in hand to make an arrest, because that will be into evidence before this jury that there was a warrant to arrest Daunte Wright in that incident. That's what the police were trying to do, according to the defense. She also denied the defense request for an instruction that the jury could consider Daunte Wright's negligence contributed to his death. This was really something that stood out to me in the proposed jury instructions, Julie, that they want to argue that the conduct of Wright caused possibly his death. Let's take a listen to that moment from yesterday when the judge denied that request.
All of those allegations of what Mr. Wright should or should not have done can come out during testimony. They don't belong in the instructions. Any reference to Mr. Wright's negligence would only tend to confuse the jury. But the defense, of course, can argue it. As far as the warrant is concerned, again, counsel is entitled to get testimony in that a warrant, even though the officers didn't have the warrant in hand, and entitled them to arrest Mr. Wright.
So some big hints at what this defense will be saying tomorrow based on what they were trying to just get in the jury instruction to Julie. So it will be fascinating to listen as these opening statements unfold tomorrow.
All right, Chanley Painter in Minneapolis, thank you so much. We're going to